Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Rakakbadash. And of course, I want to say Shalom to y'all knockout out there pursuing this truth diligently. Coming at you once again with another lesson. Bear with me just a moment here. I'm trying to figure out what edition. I think this is edition number 5. I think we already did our fourth one. Let me see. This is the... Bear with me. They made the whole managing your channel thing way more annoying than it needs to be. Matter of fact, I can just... Okay. Yeah, number 5. All right, and this is the 5th edition of the Stepping Stones of the New World Order. All right, it's like you there. Had to get with it, right? So this is the 5th edition. I thought it was the 5th. I just wanted to make sure of the Stepping Stones of the New World Order. I thought it was going to be faster to pull up the YouTube studio on my phone, but of course they've been messing with shit. You know, of course, some of you brothers would know that make lessons. Of course, they remove they're rolling out a like removal. All right, so now you can't even see the likes, which I guess kind of annoys me. Because, you know, I guess views show the reach, but that's not really engagement, right? It's not all about likes and all that stuff, but that's probably like the best metric for it. Because I mean, views is basically with likes. It used to have likes and dislikes, and with the likes and dislikes, I can tell those that were edified versus those that were, you know, scoffed at it, right? It'll say 4 likes and 3 dislikes or something like that, right? But they removed that metric, so now I'm not going to go off of views because views doesn't really do anything. But now, if you want to find out if someone actually even, you know, liked it or disliked it, you have to go here. Then you have to go and click on the video. And then you have to click on here. And then you have to scroll down. Okay, see 1 like. And then it doesn't even tell you how many dislikes. So I don't even know. You can go to analytics. And I haven't really figured it out. You can go to analytics. Advanced analytics. Then you have to go to like down here and see views, engaged views. See, I don't like all this shit, right? Interactions, likes and dislikes. Apply. Maybe it'll come up now. Likes it. Okay, see, this is what I like. It used to just have this. See, generosity is an Israelite custom, part 2. We can see that 2 people liked it, 1 person disliked it. Okay, over here, 2 people liked it, nobody disliked it, and so on and so forth. 1 person liked this one, and then 2, this one got Esau in the feelings, right? This truth has Esau losing his mind, part 2. 1 like, which is probably my wife, and then 2 that did not like it. All right, 2 that did not like it. Did I lose a subscriber during it? No. All right. This one right here, with the Lord Fantasy Becomes Reality, you see someone did not like it and lost a subscriber over it. I don't know why somebody would be upset with that fact. Right here, some worldly jakes are starting to realize he's the enemy. All right, apparently there was some Edomite Christian probably that was subscribing to the channel, didn't know where the fuck they were, right? And I lost a subscriber. Well, it doesn't matter because guess what? 3 people liked that lesson, right? And that's why I liked it. All right, I liked it because impressions don't really mean much to me. Views don't mean much to me. Likes and dislike mean more of something to me because that's my judge of how people viewed the lesson. Were they edified, or, you know, did they not like it? Or I also like to see it when there's like lessons about Esau or women. I like to see the dislikes, all right, because that's also showing me that my content was edifying. Because if they don't like it, that means I said something right, all right, if the worldly people are freaking the fuck out. But yeah, that metric's completely fucking removed from the, it used to be right here on the dashboard. Or, no, not here. It used to be right here on the, you know, and you say, oh, scroll. People are saying, no, they're rolling it out. And I guess it's something they're looking into. So, people are complaining about it, which is, I'm glad because I think the shit's annoying. Anyway, but yeah. A little bit of an opening there. I wanted to, you know, bitch about that real quick. But, yeah, I don't know if you brothers were annoyed about that as well, but I know I damn sure am. But anyway, getting back into it, of course, with another edition of Stepping Stones of the New World Order. And if you have been following along, it was all stemmed through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai through this lesson right here that was put out on the Apostle Bar's secondary channel titled the GMS Mailbag channel. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Let's see if he's put anything out since. He had 2 videos. Nah, he still hasn't put anything out yet. Of course, he just put something out on the his main channel, which is Daily Edification 4. This is the Apostle's main channel. If you're not subscribed to the main channel, of course, most definitely go and subscribe to the main channel, right? Daily Edification 4. And while you're there, go and subscribe to Daily Edification 4686 which is really the GMS mailbag channel. All right, so last lesson, what we did, what did we do last lesson? Because I remember in number 3, that's one we really did, breaking down reincarnation and getting into Esau and the Amalek, knowing who our real enemies are. Let's go and scroll through here, see what we talked about, because I can't remember. Because this was, what did I do this one? It was a couple days ago, all right, that I did this one. I can't remember necessarily what I touched on in this one. Let me go see. Resources for development includes, okay, the Rockefeller lineage, Illuminati. I guess we touched on more who the Illuminati is. Of course, we talked on the secret council of the wicked that these individuals have. We're going to get that scripture again here in just a moment. What else did we talk about? Let's skip through here. That's right. We went through the master plan of the illuminated red shields, talking about how somewhere in here it says basically Marion Knox went ahead and said that these individuals, the Rothschilds, actually refer to themselves secretly as the Edomites. Okay, as the Edomites. And of course, we also talked about some of the bugged out shit he said. We talked about Area 51, about how it's really just a illusion. All right, there's stuff there. All right, not that I've ever been, but pretty much even the FBI directors and CIA directors have came out and said, and of course they could be lying, yeah, but I believe it because, you know, everybody knows about Area 51. It's not that secret if everybody knows about it. You got to worry about, everyone's like, oh, Area 51, Area 51. It's, for the most part, at least as we know, all right, and the CIA has basically came out and said, again, if the CIA is believed, but most of the time they're not, but these are whistleblowers, a little bit different, and they said it's basically just classified aerospace, base. That's all it is. And I think that's probably what it is too, because I don't think they're, a lot of people, they're harboring alien bodies there. I don't think they're doing any of that. All right, they got all the Ark of the Covenant stuff. That's all those things are in the Vatican. All right, and their little hidden areas. So what's there is, again, everybody knows about Area 51. All right, it's secret, but it's not as secret as it could be. So you got to worry about, Area 2, Area 3. All right, at the places you don't know the fuck about. What else did we talk about? We talked about, just doing a little recap here. If it would load, that'd be fantastic. I'll grab a drink of water while I'm letting this buffer. There should be no reason for it. See what the brother's been up to while we're waiting. Oh, that's right. Talked about, the hidden shit. All right, about, we went ahead and we got Luke 12 and 1 through 3, dealing with, of course, nothing covered that shall not be revealed. And we dealt with how Oliver Tree was working on this documentary about on Antarctica, and how there was this pyramid, all right, and it's a distinctive peak, small distinctive peak, all right. No, it's the side of a glacier. No, that's methodical. Okay, there's not. They said it was like 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. That doesn't. That's just a hell of a coincidence. All right, no, that's methodical. They made it that way. All right, they made it that way. And then we talked about the old maps. And then what else did we did? We really talked about the old maps. And then what did we end up closing out with? What scriptures did we get? We got a couple, I remember. Of course, Luke 12 and 2 through 3. I guess we skipped one. And then what else did we get? Anything else? No, that looks like it. So today, as I said I wanted to do in this lesson, we're going to be jumping into really what the original focus of the lesson was. It kind of ended up becoming more than what I thought it was going to be, but the Federal Reserve, all right, and the whole Eustace Mullins secrets of the Federal Reserve. Now, in the there was things specifically that was mentioned in this lesson. I can't necessarily remember what it was, talking about the beast system, all the little things that they're setting up, and the things that they're doing in the back, the Illuminati type stuff with all this, secret organizations and stuff. Matter of fact, let's play a little bit of the Apostles' lesson.
If you watched my previous video on this channel,
see what he's talking about, right?
You would have seen me go into this symbol right here. Okay, with the Latin words annuit coeptis.
Yep. And I believe we talked about that.
Which means
I believe we talked about that in the first lesson, I think.
He favors our enterprise with success. What's the enterprise? New World Order. Novus Ordo Seclorum.
Yep. New world, new order of the ages. Yep.
It means new order of the ages or new world order. So that's what Esau is trying to bring. And in this new world order, they want everyone chipped.
Yep.
Microchipped. Okay? So what Elder Apostle Ramlav is about to go into, he's about to go into is a piece of legislation from the UN, which further leads to the top banking families making this possible, where everyone is to be identified by a microchip.
Yep. I'll leave that part off there. But yeah, they want everybody identified with a microchip. And that was actually in that interview with Alex Jones and Aaron Russo. All right, and Aaron Russo was it Aaron Russo, or it might have been Alex Jones that said it. He said total control. All right, I think I accidentally attributed that recently in actually this thing right here to Russo. All right. But it was actually Alex Jones that I think said total control, right? And he said basically if you're like someone like me or you, they can just turn off the chip. Let me see. Aaron Russo. Alex Jones. Full length. Let me see if we can get here. Fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use.
Headlines in the newspapers the next day. You know, there was my picture in the newspapers, the headlines, electric theater short-circuited, it was raided. And in the article, they went ahead and they said that the reason they raided the club was because the fire department came there and saw it was messy full of garbage, and the hippies started attacking them, which was totally not true.
Those dirty hippies.
It was totally false, you know. It was a complete fabrication.
So they ran a false flag on you. They framed you.
Yeah, of course. You know, and I was in shock.
Everything fucking froze. Of course, soon as I go into this video, everything decides to freeze. Right? Look, I can't even... Come on now. There we go. Good Lord. Had to exit out of everything. Right here. This is about the area.
And they're all part of the Communist Manifesto. You know, central banking is one of the major planks of the Communist Manifesto. We talk about America being a capitalistic country, but yet at the same time we have a central bank that plans everything for us, right? And the graduated income tax is another plank of the Communist Manifesto, right? So right there you have two major planks of the Communist Manifesto that have been brought in because of the Federal Reserve System, okay? So the ultimate goal...
There it is. There it is, mentioned the Federal Reserve, right?
Have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and then they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero, right? And the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so now instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to.
Notice he said it was given to him by Rockefeller himself, right? Because he had dealings and speakings with those individuals, with, I guess a couple individuals.
Say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control.
There you go.
And if you're like me or you,
yep,
and
right
you're
here
protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip, and you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything.
And no man shall buy or sell save he that had the chip. And you might ask, well, we had the chip. Well, yeah, if you go against their agenda, it doesn't really matter. They can shut it off. And now you ain't got nothing. Right? So that's why a lot of these people are actually going to end up taking that chip. And they're going to think, because, you know, they're going to see individuals that don't take it, not able to go into the stores, not able to get their groceries, not able to get their gas. And they're going to take it under the illusion that, oh, I'll be able to be, you know, fulfilled, all right, and satiated, all right. But if they do something or say something, I mean, there's, again, like Alex Jones said, total control. It's going to be a complete, you know, monitoring system, all right. They're going to know where you're at, what you're doing, all right. It's probably going to interface with your electronics somehow, some way, shape, form, all right. It'll probably be used as some form of two-factor authentication, all right. Anybody that's on the internet a lot and has their emails and shit locked down, right, and we all know what two-factor authentication is. Okay, whether it's a text being sent through your phone, you know, you try to, for those that aren't technologically savvy, one of the simplest forms of two-factor authentication is, say you can't get it, or say you try to get into your YouTube and it says, oh, well, you know, prove it's you. And then one of the things that they can do is, I know I've done it on my phone with your Google account, they'll send something to YouTube on your phone, you have to click it, it'll be like, yes, verify it's me. Or getting a code sent to your phone is another form of two-factor authentication, right? And it's basically just a form of verifying who you are. So you don't know, there might be certain different social media platforms and stuff, and you got to realize that all the phones have chip readers in them. All right, they can read and write. You can watch. Do iPhones, and I know they do because I wrote an NFC tag about 2 or 3 months ago when I was dealing with Amiibos. For those that don't know Amiibo, okay, when I was on my Nintendo Switch, I haven't played it in a while, but these are actually controlled by NFC, and we've looked up time and time again to prove that NFC is the same technology as RFID. All right, RFID, NFC, they're the same thing, just one's radio frequency, one's near field. Okay, near field communication, NFC, and then radio frequency identification device, RFID. All right, they're the same technology. One's just further, all right, RFID, and then one's shorter and closer ranged, NFC. And these actually operate off of NFC. Does it make you wicked? Did you take the mark of the beast? If you use one, no, because your phone has that same technology in it. All right, your banking card has that same technology in it. Your Apple Watch has the same technology in it, right? So no, it's about getting it in you, getting it inserted in, and receiving it and getting an implant. That's taking the mark of the beast, not utilizing the technology. All right, you can't get away from it. I mean, you wouldn't even be able to fucking use your debit card, right? Well, see, no man can buy or sell save he that have. No, because right now I can use cash. Right? I can go to the store and use cash, so it's obviously not that. It's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to buy or sell no other way, no other shape, no other form, but having that device implanted in you. And we just did that Mark of the Beast breakdown yesterday, right? Dealing with IUIC and their horrible versions of it, right? And so what these little things are is they, you know, as you see them, they look like little toys, but what you do is you tap them on the side of your Nintendo Switch game system, right? And in certain games, I was using them for Animal Crossing because, for example, the Animal Crossing, you tap them and you can get those villagers to actually show up. And these are very expensive, right? They're like 20, 30 bucks a pop. So what you can do is you can get NFC tags, right? You can get an NFC tag. They look like this. Right, and you can see on your phone, this is the exact thing that comes up, ready to scan. Approach an NFC tag, and you scan it and you write it to it. There's a app on the phone called Tagmiibo, Tagmiibo, that you can you basically go online and you look for Amiibo bin files. All right, Animal Crossing, you get a bin file. And I'm not going to show you how to do it because, you know, the internet can get crazy with it because it's technically a form of piracy, which is not theft. It's copyright infringement, and there's no laws in the Bible about copyright infringement for those fucking in too deep bug out J. Oh, you're stealing. That ain't stealing. Okay, as the apostle, well, not the apostle, as the elder at Manat Zatba, because I asked him a long time ago, is it technically stealing? He said no, because if you have a water bottle and I take it from you, I've stolen it from you. Now you don't have a water bottle. If you have a water bottle, I have a device that clones water bottles, and you still have your bottle. Now I have a bottle. I copied it. All right, I didn't steal anything. All right, so that's just for those brothers and sisters that need to hear that, or the in too deep ones. But anyway, you go online, you find the bin files because it's all bin file, and then you get the bin file, you download it to your phone. you put it into your files app, then you open up the program called TagMebo. Those are a bunch of different programs. I use TagMebo. You use TagMebo. You import a bin file. You get that bin file online. You go look up Animal Crossing bin file. You look for a specific, say, Coco or Daisy or Goldie, whatever. Not Goldie, not Daisy. There probably is a Daisy, but Goldie or whoever, right? Whoever. Whichever you want. Or this one right here. You go and look up Link Awakening Amiibo bin file, right? And you find the bin file, you download it, and then it brings it up in the app, all right? And I wish I still had it, all right? Matter of fact, I might want to show you something. I think what I'm going to do, hold up, right? I'm going to show you something. TagMebo. I'm going to download it because what I want to do is I want to show you how these things work because I actually got these on hand. So I'm downloading. Bear with me. I'm gonna go grab the NFC, and I'm gonna be right back. 1 minute. All right, I'm back. So bear with me just 1 minute. Let me get this rolling. And then let me open up where is it? Oh, right in front of my face. Where is it, man? Hold up. 1 minute. There's a program I have called Let's View. Right in front of my face? No. Ah, it's up here somewhere. Yep, I moved it. I'm bearing while I get in there. Alright. We're back. So, as you can see, right to the right, I got this app, TagMebo. Now, what I want to show you is this. Faith, I can't find it. Alright, let me show you. Sorry for the mess in the background, but this right here. Oops, let me turn around because I made a little label for it. You see, it says Amiibo, right? Just like the logo down here, Amiibo, right? Just printed it out, put it on it, so I would know what it was, right? So you can see it. That's what it is, right? And then let me move this over here. Move this over here. Okay. Let me see. I gotta monitor myself somehow. Let me see if I can do this here. 1 minute. Hold up. Display capture. No, not display capture. Hold up. Game capture, media source, window capture. There you go. Boom. Okay, now it's on the screen. You should be able to see it. I can move it up and down, right? Again, this is it, right? It's technically Mark of the Beast technology, all right? Is it in my skin? No. Actually, matter of fact, Apostle Tahar has a bag of them. So here's the app right here, TagMebo, right? And this is all it looks like, just this little key tag. It used to actually have a keychain thing on it, but I took it off. And you actually just tap it to the joystick of a Nintendo Switch. So I'll show you. I can't remember what's on this. It's either Anka or one of the other Amiibos. Let me see. So I'm opening it up. I got it downloaded. Right? Not doing that. So let's see. There's a way to load encryption key, owned library. Scan existing Amiibo. Right? You see it? Now I'm gonna hold this up because I want to show you how this technology is gonna work. Right? See it? It says ready to scan. Right? I'm gonna put it on there. And all I'm gonna do says close to the top of the iPhone. There we go, look. Boom. And look who it is right there. Goldie. That's all it was. All right, let me show you it again. All right. Well, usually I put it like right here. Good. Hold up. There it is. Right up at the top. Let me try that again. Let me show you, okay? Now I know where to exactly put it. So right at the top. Right here. Boom. That's all it is. Right? That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Let me just stop broadcasting. And I can close out of this. And then I can move that. All right. So there you go. That's how easy it is. Right? That's all it is to it. All there is to it. And that's the same technology that they're going to be putting in people's hands, man. And Lord willing, we don't take it. We always got to say Lord willing, right? You always got to say Lord willing because you never know, all right, at the end of the day, what happens. You know, there's a lot of individuals that came in. They look like, you know, decent individuals. You know, there's always little things. Sometimes it's harder to tell with others. And then, you know, they look like, you know, decent men and then completely, you know, went off, right? Completely went off. So that's all we always got to say, Lord willing, man. You don't want to get too proud. I'm never going to take that shit. And you got to be careful. You know, being proud, you know, Lord hates pride. All right. Pride is hateful before the Most High and man. You know, he, you know, that could be a sign that, you know, you're really not in it. You could be a 2/3 and you end up fucking taking that chip and you don't want that. So you got to say Lord willing. All right. If the apostles say Lord willing about it, we got to say Lord willing about it. So that's me, but that shows you the same technology. All right. Now they want that same technology. Now notice how when I put it to the phone, now the phone is a reader. It can read and write. Now I don't have any more tags to read or write. These are one use. I bought them thinking they were multiple use. Well, they technically are multiple use, but the way amiibos work, they have to lock. So technically these work, you could read and write multiple times with these, but since they have amiibos on them, they're, you know, amiibo has they basically have to purposely lock the card because it's a anti-piracy feature that Nintendo has, but it didn't really work so well. It didn't really work so well. But anyway, yeah, that same technology, you know, the phone can read and write. Well, they're gonna have readers, okay, at the stations, okay. We mentioned this just the other day, and you know, just like scanning that amiibo, all right, it's gonna be, instead of that amiibo, instead of a little card like that, a little NFC tag, it's going to be your wrist, all right? Your wrist, all right? Those of you that take it, all right? And, you know, that's it, man. And there's no way out of that. You can't, once you take it, you're done. You're fried, all right? Because that shows that you're really in league with the devil, all right? Esau, Edom, all right? You think he's your God and your master. Not the Lord, not Yahweh Shemyav Shai, but Esau. And that's, you know, they've been working for something like this for a very, 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 very long time, right? And you can go back into when was the first, let's go first US dollar made. Let's see. When was the all-seeing eye added to the dollar bill? I have Providence. 1935. Okay, 1935. It was placed there by the order of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who incorporated the front and the reverse sides of the Great Seal of the United States, which had featured the symbol since 1782, into the design of the newly issued $1 bill. Let's see, 1782 dollar bill US. This is the original. So this is the original seal, and you can see the E pluribus unum, still, you know, still the same thing. And we looked up that the other day. Why is that the case? Because they were infatuated with the Roman Empire. And anyway, we're going to get right into it because we've already probably been more than like 20 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes. So this is Psalm 64 and 1 through 2. It says, hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And as we were dealing with Alex Jones and Aaron Russo here, right? That's, the secret councils. He was talking about, I spoke with the Rockefellers, I heard this personally. These, these places, they're secret councils, all right? Secret councils. That wasn't something that was done in front of the world. I mean, again, Aaron Russo was, basically like a insider whistleblower, however you want to call it. Basically whistleblew about what they were doing. But those are things that generally people don't get to hear. Okay, that's the things that are whispered behind closed doors, all right? And as the scripture, let's go and get that one. Whispered in closets. We got this the other day, but Luke 12 and 2 through 3. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. And again, these individuals have these secret councils where they go, they do, they're secret, they're crafty, they hide it, and they go and speak these things, come up with these ideas, go about decreeing unrighteous decrees, all right? And they plan these decrees years before they even come out. And, that's what they do in secret, and that's how the Federal Reserve was created, right? And that's what we're going to get into today is the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve was created directly by one of these secret councils. And again, the Federal Reserve, they all want this. The ultimate goal, okay, was to take control over all the banks, is to take over all the banks and have a one world currency, as Aaron Russo was saying here, a one world currency. Everybody's chipped, all right? You won't be able to buy or sell without it. That's Revelation 13 and 16. And they're going to have total control. And if you say anything they don't like, they turn it off and you're done. You're shit out of luck and you're fucked, all right? And there's no such thing as luck, but you know the saying. So what I was doing was looking up, and mind you, in the first lesson that I made, in number 1, I showed you that when I first tried to look this up, it actually said, sorry, I can't continue. And it even admitted, it said, oh, that does look like I'm trying to hide something. I'm like, I never said you were hiding something, but now that you're saying you're hiding something, it seems like you're hiding something, right? So if you don't believe it, go back and watch the first episode. So here we are, and this Google AI, I don't know if it's Gemini of some variety. I don't know what the split off differences between Gemini, because that's made by Google, and then there's just AI mode in the Google search. I think it's slightly different. If you look at the interface, it's slightly different. But anyway, so I just went ahead and asked it. All right, really stemmed from this lesson and this search. And it says, who created the Federal Reserve? It says the Federal Reserve was created by the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson on December 23rd, 1913 through the Federal Reserve Act. And mind you, this was a couple years before the 30s, where they actually, for the first time, put the seal of Providence, or the symbol of Providence, or whatever the fuck they want to call it. Really, it's the all-seeing eye. On that bill, right? This happened before that in 1913, and it was done through the Federal Reserve Act. It was actually called the, there was a different name for it. It was the Aldrich Plan, all right? And that didn't really work because, again, it sounded like a bunch of bankers trying to fucking control everybody, all right? And it was, but that's why they use that craftiness, all right, their deceivingness, the deceivability that Esau has. And deceived, as it says, went forth and deceived the nations. Well, he deceived the nations about a lot of things. That he was the Israelites, that, were Africans, that, all these different things. There's plenty of things. But one of those things is, deceiving the nations, and that's what he does. He's still doing it. Deceiving and lying, science and race and gender and this and that, and things that he did do, things that he didn't do, and slavery and this. It's all deception. It's all lies. All right, and that's his modus operandi. All right, is not only plausible deniability, but also covering up their atrocities through lies. Okay, through lies. It didn't happen like that. We didn't do that. You have no proof. We didn't do. Well, the only reason, and we do have proof, but the reason we don't have overwhelming proof, and we do really have overwhelming proof, but as you would say, you don't have overwhelming proof. You have to use the Bible. Well, you covered up a lot of things, but we have enough, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. There's plenty of things out there to prove it, but you did cover up a good chunk, a good 60 to 70 to 80% you covered up. But with lies, all right, as the scripture said, nothing covered that shall not be revealed. Things slip through the cracks, and that's through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Things have slipped through the cracks. We shouldn't know any of this shit, all right? If Esau was really a decent ruler and actually good at what he did, and it wasn't Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that was cracking, down his wall and allowing light to shine through the cracks, right? We shouldn't know any of this. We shouldn't know that we were enslaved. We shouldn't know that you were cannibalizing us. We shouldn't know about the sweat boxes. We shouldn't have known about any of these things. Forced impregnation. We shouldn't have been known about any of these things. If you wanted to keep your shit on lock, Esau, none of that should have ever come out and never should have came to the light. We should have never known about slavery. We should have never known about the Caucasus Mountains. We should have never known about any of these things. You should have kept it under lock and key. But again, your pride got a hold of you. That's through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua revealing you through your own self. All right, because you're proud, you have to, like the scriptures say, the wicked boasteth of his heart's desire. They can't help it. They have to put it out there. We bring that scripture out all the time. They have to say something. They have to put it out in the limelight. They have to say they're going to do something. Because again, the vast majority of the population is so fucking dumb. They can go and say, oh, we're going to blow up that building, and then it happens. They said, no, they wouldn't do that. They said they were going to do it. You misunderstood what they said, okay? There's a lot of these people that really think that World Trade Center 7 just fell. All right? That was a fucking implosion. And they'll try to take your videos down, try to say this, try to call you conspiracy, all this, when there are actually demolition experts that talked about that fucking building. There's no fucking way possible, okay? That's not how explosions happen. Implosions, it caves in on itself. Explosions, if you ever seen a planned demolition, they have them plenty of time. Well, not plenty. There's plenty that have happened in Vegas with the old casinos. They blow them down, all right? They implode them. Boom, 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 boom. And then you see the building just fall in on itself. That's not how explosions work. Explosions blow out. Implosions come inward. They fall down. They just look like a building collapsing from the bottom. Explosions happen from wherever impact happened. Implosions happen from the bottom. And that's what happened with World Trade Center 7. And there's several firefighters and demolition experts that said that. All right, but they'll try to silence you and cancel you and say all these different things about you if you bring that out. It's fucking fact, man. It's fact. Even the people that arrived on the scene said it was an explosion. All right, there was a bomb. All right, that's what people were saying. All right, but nope. That didn't happen at all. And they didn't find the black boxes, even though they're painted bright fucking orange, and they're the most likely thing to survive, and they don't just, break or go missing like that. And then on top of that, they've never been found. And on top of that, there were several bystanders that said they saw men carry those black boxes away. All right? So, and again, everything's a fucking lie. Oh, this whole society's built up by the lie. The American name is a lie, all right, because the America was named after Amerigo Vespucci, a great explorer that didn't really do the explorations that he said he did. He was a liar, right? So, again and again and again and again and again and again and again, this place is full of lies. All right, it is all full of lies and robbery. Let's go get that. Full of lies and robbery. This is Nahum 3 and verse 1 through 4. Woe to the bloody city. There's another name for Babylon. The bloody city, right? Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. And that's what we're going to get. We're just going to get verse 1, excuse me. And the prey is who? You, Jake. All right, but they don't want to depart. I like it here, man. I like it here, man. Right? I like the rap music and the basketball and all that. That's what they give you, Jake. They give you rap music and basketball. That's all they give you, right? It's very hard to get into higher positions of management and to all these different career paths, higher level of education, because they price it out, all right? They keep it purposely out of reach and out of price. The curriculum that they teach in school and the way that they grade is purposely set up in a way that Jake does not learn best at. Or Jake is more physical, not physical and a combination learners, physical and visual. Okay, well, Esau's schools are mostly only visual. They put up like, oh, we're gonna go to this page, read it. They put it up on the board and they say take notes. And as you notice, Jake doesn't learn that great like that. And you want to know why Jake doesn't learn great like that? And not that Jake can't learn from it. There are Jake that can learn like that. But the vast majority of Jake can't learn like that. And you want to know the reason why? Is because that's not a great way to gather knowledge. All right, we are the humans as a whole. How we are is we're not. Learning was never just purely visual. It was visual and physical. All right, going to the dawn of time, someone would show you a hands-on approach. All right, this is how you do it. Okay, this is how you do it. You know, but Esau, they put something up on a board, and again, that's not a good way to learn because it really doesn't give you hands-on information. It doesn't give you a hands-on skill, all right, with that information. That's why Esau, you know, they go and they're book smart because that's all visual, all right. They go and see it, and they say, oh yeah, I read it. But these motherfuckers, the same motherfuckers out here that are dumb as shit. All right, they're dumb as hell. They can't recount or recall any of the information, right? And they really don't have a good understanding about the subject that they, quote unquote, allegedly learned about. Because again, they're not doing it. That's like watching someone fix a car. You don't ever get your hands in there. You don't get the grease on them. You don't actually take the alternator out. You don't replace the serpentine belt. You don't do you don't drain the oil. You don't do any of those things. You just watch somebody do it. Yeah, you might be able to recount and recall some of that information, right? But it's not going to be as good as someone that actually had their hands in there, all right, messing around with the parts and components, okay? And that's the way anybody learns best. But Esau said, oh, you know, you should be able to do it visual. It's not a good way to learn, all right? But again, that's what they do. That's the institutions and the educational institutes, where they're really not educational institutes. They're indoctrination institutes. That's the primary purpose of those schools, is to indoctrinate you. People go there straight and they come back crooked, all right? Read between the lines with what I just said there. They go there straight, come back crooked. Okay, you know, funny. Okay, you know, a little different. All right, they're batting for the blue team, and when they went there and they came back batting for the pink team. You know what I mean, right? That's what they send you there, and they do those things, right? They mess up your mind. All right, and that's really all educational infrastructure systems, even the elementary school, man. All right, that's why if I had a kid and call all you how about meow shy, I don't, because I wouldn't be able to fucking enjoy him in the first place, right? If I had a little boy, I'd have to worry about, you know, someone doing some sick shit to him. If I had a little girl, 10 times worse. Now I have to worry about, you know, somebody wanting to do something to her, you know, school teachers and stuff. Come here, come in the bathroom, sweetheart. I don't know what the fuck's going on. They're out of my vision, right? I need them at home where I know, you know, if they go to the bathroom, they're safe. All right, if someone tries to jump out and do something to them, I can beat their ass, right? I need to have that, right? So that's protection. I'm sending you to an infrastructure. Here you are, you're 5 years old. I don't know who's with you. I don't know your teacher. A lot of these teachers end up getting fucking caught up in these scandals, man. Even the female teachers. It's not just men. It's the female teachers, the men teachers, you know, white teachers. You know, it don't matter, you know. They're Mexican teachers, right? Sometimes Jake, but most of the time it's Esau. Most of the time it's Esau. And then after Esau, I see a lot of so-called Mexicans, and I won't necessarily say that's Issachar, because there's a lot of tares amongst there, because they were heavily dominated. Same thing with Jake. All right, on the East Coast, there's a lot of tares, all right, amongst the black folk, just as it is with the Mexican folk, because again, you had the slave master, you know, pumping them out, just like you had the Spanish conquistadors going over there and pumping them out, right? And you're making these little Mexican-looking babies that really have Edomite lineage, right? Or so-called black-looking babies with Edomite lineage. Right, vice versa. So someone could be, you know, Jake's fucked up, all right, but that's primarily an Edomite culture. All right, they say, oh, Esau doesn't have any culture. Yeah, they do. It's taking land and fucking kids. That's what Esau does, right? And complaining about things being too spicy. Those are three cultures, right? Oh, and crying. All right, crying when they don't get their way. That's the four cultures of Esau. All right, stealing land, fucking kids, crying when they don't get their way, and complain about things being too spicy. All right, there's too much salt in this. There's too much salt, sir. All I added was one sprinkle. Right? It's too salty. God damn it! Take it back. All right, sorry you don't know flavor, but all right, buddy. But yeah, man. So this is where you don't want to depart from here. You want to stay here with all the land taken and the kid fucking in them, you know, white women, these Karens out here saying, so where are you from? Where are you from around here? I live down the block. I haven't seen you here before. Yeah, man, I stay inside mostly, man. You know, I'm just watering my lawn. Are you watering your lawn? What are you doing out here? You know, because, you know, we saw you out there and we haven't seen you before, and we didn't really feel safe with someone in the neighborhood that we're not. Man, get the fuck out of here, you racist bitch. Right? Get out of here. You want to stay here. You don't want to depart from this place. The Lord called it what it is. Woe to the bloody city. It's a bloody city. It's full of lies, robbery, death, All right, not adding to the scripture. I'm just saying the things that it's full of. All right, it mentions lies and robbery here. It's also full of death. All right, a lot of slaughter in this land, man. A lot of slaughter in this land. Bloodshed. All right, we already know, says the blood defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of blood other than the blood of him that shed it. Right, roughly paraphrasing. So Esau, his blood has to be spread in Babylon, and after, you know, and not by us. All right, but by Yahweh Shemiao Shai. All right, and those chariots, bzoop, 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 right, blowing them down. So, and they don't want that, again, because another scripture, you know, they how did it go? We just got it the other day. I shall never be in adversity. Right here, Psalms 10 and 6. It's actually verse 5. Nope. 7? Well, it's actually a two-part that I'm mixing two parts. All right, this is the first part. Psalms 10 and 6. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. What is adversity? All right, adversity. A state of serious, continuous difficulty, misfortune, or hardship. I'm not going to go through hardship. I'm not going to go through hardship. After their own names. And then the second part is Psalms 49:11. It says, their inward thought is that their houses, you know, their name, right? Their places, their dwelling areas, right? Well, their houses, you know, the house of Esau shall continue forever. And it's not, because the house of Esau is going to be done away with after they go into captivity in the kingdom. 1,000 years is all they got. And then after that, bop, done. All right, their houses will not continue after that. And then it's Slakia, so I had to correct that. And then what I meant to say, so their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. They think the Edomites are going to be around forever. And their dwelling places to all generations. You know, generation upon generation, there's going to be a new land of Idumea. They had Petra, Greece, Rome, America, right, in Europe, all right? They think that their dwelling places are always going to be around. And, hey, nope, not going to happen, right? And how do we know who this people is? How do we know? How do we know this is the Edomite? How do we know? They're in their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names, okay? Now, Google might lie, but what nation of people has named land masses after their selves the most? They might say, you know, Asian, but let's see, because it should say, you know, European Caucasian, right? There you go. Ancient tribes, ethnic groups settled there. Right. So right here, it says about a third of the world's countries are named directly after ancient tribes, ethnic groups, or peoples that settled there. When looking at the sheer volume of land masses, including continents, countries, and global territories, European colonizers, particularly the British, named the most places after themselves and their royalty. So going back in the scripture, we're not the Edomites. We're not the Edomites. Shut the fuck up, you bitch ass boy. Right? We ain't dealing with that. You can't lie. You can't lie your way out of this, Esau. If it says they call their lands after their own names, who has called their lands after their own names the most? The Europeans. The Europeans. You boy. You, and you're going into slavery. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. All right? The white man was once on top, but now he's going back on the bottom. You had a good run. It's been a good run, everybody. Let's give a round of applause to Esau. Good run. You had a good run. You did some great killing, right? Some raping, some robbery, all right? Some good cover-up schemes that, I gotta admit, fell flat after a few years. But you had a good run. Congratulations. Round of applause for Esau, everybody. But now it's time to go away. All right? Your time is drawing nigh. The Lord's going to come back, and it's all going to be demolished. All of your little dwelling places that are all going to be done away with. The Walmart's done away with. No more Targets. All right? No more Shell gas stations. No more BP oil. None of that. It's all going to go away. Right? And you're going into captivity. You're going into slavery, because there's another one. He who leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kill with the sword shall be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Right? Roughly paraphrasing. So yeah. Who calls their land after their own names? Esau. Who calls their land after their own names? Esau. Who? Esau. Who's Esau? The so-called white man. How do we know? Because this is dealing with Esau. And how do we know it's Esau with the white man? Because the white man is the one who calls their lands after their own names. They're the ones that lead into captivity. They're the ones that want to kill their brother. They're the ones that do all these things. They're the one that has the spirit of Cain. Them. It's undeniable that it's you, man. It's you. Y-O-U, motherfuckers. You. It's you, and you can't hide it. All right, because the scriptures don't lie and history doesn't lie. You tried to cover it up, and great one, round of applause again. You tried to cover it up. It was a good effort, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't as good as what Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai had planned, and you couldn't get around it. You couldn't do anything about it. Too sad, so sad. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. All right, you're going into chains. There ain't nothing you can do about it, right? But you really want to get this, you really want your new world order to go out again because, you know, again, your pride, right? You think you're going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to do it, right? So who created the Federal Reserve? And these are the same fucking people that created the Federal Reserve, the same fucking people that want you to have this chip in you, and the same fucking people that are out there killing and colonizing and doing all sorts of this secret little shit, all right, going back into Psalm 64 and 1 through 8. That's what you're doing. And you've been found out. All right, the gig is up. The gig is up. You're fucked, Esau. You've been, again, going back into Psalms down in verse 7 through 8. Okay, it says, verse 7, Psalm 64 and 7 through 8, it says, but Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow, because earlier in the verse it talks about them wanting to shoot their little arrows out, you know, inflict damages and have their little things happen to people and their little schemes and lies, right? But Yahweh shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. The things that you do, the way you walk, the way you move, all those different things that you do, it proves who you are. We see who you are. We see you, right? We see what you're doing. And the way you move, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you live, all right, it reveals who you are. It reveals who you are. And that's revealed unto us through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, through his Holy Spirit, right? And you can't avoid it. There's nothing you can do. Sorry. Can't do nothing about it, right? It's the same, you know, the Lord has has discernment on us and many different things. It's the same reason why when someone walks up, we can tell they're fucking crazy and bugged out like that. We can just tell, all right? Someone walks up, they got those fucking crazy eyes. One's going left, one's going right, all right? One's pointed towards the north, one's pointed to the west, all right? We can tell you're fucking crazy or you have this energy on you. It's the same thing with Esau. All right, and that's why I don't take too long to talk to somebody and be like, this motherfucker ain't a Jake. Now, once you find out they're not a Jake, now it can be a little bit hard. Okay, are they an Edomite? Are they one of the other nations? Because you got to realize that it happens with Jake a lot too. But a lot of the nations pattern themselves after Esau. A lot of fucking Jake do too. A lot of them pattern themselves out of Esau. They want to be like Esau. They want to look like Esau. You got the black woman's probably the worst progenitor of that fucking bullshit. All right, is wanting the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the skin lightening. You look fine, but you want to look like them. Here it is. You were beautiful. All right, you had a nice dark skin, pretty brown eyes. All right, you had pretty brown eyes, nice, you know, good 4C hair, beautiful, but you want to go and get a fucking silk press. All right, hell, fuck it, you don't even get a silk press. You buzz your shit and you get a wig. Never mind, you get a wig. All right, that's the thing with the so-called, you know, ghetto black women. You know, the wig. You want to get the wig. Meanwhile, you look great. You looked fantastic, but you like self-sabotage because you hate yourself. You want to like inflict ugly upon you, right? So you buzz your shit. All right, and then you fuck your shit up, all right, by doing what you do. Maybe you do a silk press, but you keep on fucking it up. You do silk press and you putting all that heat in your hair over and over and over again, and then you use those bleaches and dyes that are damaging your fucking hair's falling out. I used to have one of the first girlfriends I had was this black girl, and she would constantly straighten her hair and dye it, straighten her hair and dye it, straighten her hair and dye it, and about once a year she had to go fucking damn near bald. Right, and you know, because you want to put all that dye in your, and you do that and you do that and you do that, and your hair's all fucked up, and then you got to use a wig. Right, so now you're in this wig, and what wig do you get? Do you get an afro wig? No. All right. Do you get a curly hair wig? No. What do you get? You get a straight blonde wig, and then you know what you do? You get those gas station fucking contacts. All right, those blue contacts that make you look fucking crazy. All right, they make you look nuts. All right, let's see. Look, black woman with blue contacts. Let's find one with blonde hair. Well, here's an example. It doesn't have the, she stayed with the black hair, but look, you got the straight hair, all right, to look like the white woman, and then you got blue eyes. Who has blue eyes? The white woman primarily. Let's try to find one with here. This is the fucking example of what Lil' Kim is a great fucking example. Great fucking example of what the black woman do, because she lightened her skin as well. You want to know what she didn't lighten? Yeah, look, Lil' Kim, 90s. Let's see. Try to find a picture over here. I mean, you can go and look at it how she looked back then, and then look how she looks now. She's obviously been using a lot of that skin lightening cream and all these different treatments and shit. You see, look, pink, pink lipstick. All right, because Jake lips ain't pink like that, right? Jake lips has a natural nude, melanated color to it. So you want to lighten your skin, want to get the pink lips, so you wear the pink lipstick, right? Or a pink lip gloss, something that adds a pink tone. And then, you can tell that she's got something done with her nose, all right, several times. And he's got, she cut down on her, Jake has rounder faces and higher cheekbones, so she cut down on that, right? You can still tell you're Jake, you can't hide it. And then, the blue contacts, piercing blue they never get a natural type of contact either. They always get the piercing fucking blue contacts that's like unnaturally blue. And then, of course, the blonde hair. Can't stop there. You got to have it all, right? Here's Nicki Minaj doing the same shit, all right? She didn't have the blue contacts. I think she has had the blue contacts or wore the blue contacts, like this shit, all right? But look, pink lip, there it is again, pink lipstick, all right? Lightened skin, blonde wig, all right? And a lot of the time, blue fucking contacts, man. Blue contacts. And well, that ain't hating yourself. I just like the way it looks. You want to look like a white woman, all right? Meanwhile, you look better than a white woman, and you want to look like someone who looks worse. That's like me. That's like me wearing a suit, all right, and seeing someone that's walking around fucking wearing, 2 paper towels and a fucking trash bag as an outfit. So I want to wear that. What the fuck? You want to look worse? You want to look like someone that looks bad. You want to look like a white woman, all right? You want to look like someone who ain't got the looks. Okay, but all right, go right ahead, destroy yourself if that's what you want to do, all right? But again, going back into where we were, the prey departeth not, all right? They don't want to leave. They want to stay here in this fucked up ass place. We don't want to stay here. We're fine with being here for the moment. I mean, because we gotta be here, right? And we're fine here for the moment because we got the brothers, we got this ministry, we got the truth, right? And thankfully in Babylon there's some pastimes, video games, movies, music that makes it okay enough to get by, but we don't want to prolong this time. We don't want to be here any longer than we got to be here, man. We're ready to get out. All right, we're ready for the new world, new heavens and a new world wherein dwelleth righteousness. All right, we're sick of this place. We're sick of waking up feeling sick sometimes and headaches. The food makes you feel like shit. It's got all sorts of fucking parasites in it. Right, you don't get enough sleep. All right, you got loud ass neighbors. All right, and all this different type of shit going on. All right, you got to deal with these crazy bugged out motherfuckers walking around the earth and Esau and his pride. All right, you got to deal with. You don't need to stay here any longer than you want to deal with Esau perpetually. You want to deal with this motherfucker saying, oh, these fucking blacks, if they just fucking stayed in their fucking place. You want to deal with that forever. All right, and then you want to deal with bugged out ass Jake. Hey brother, did you actually know that that we came from dogs? Believe it or not, man, because I know the regular science says that we came from cells and DNA. We eventually evolved from a monkey, but really we came from dogs. What I was reading some Kabbalah type information. What the fuck, man? You're bugged out. You're crazy. You're nuts. You want to stay here with that. You want to stay in that mindset. Or I was reading the Mormon Bible the other day. Why were you reading the Mormon Bible? All right, were you going to do a lesson on it? Were you going to talk about all the bugged out shit and the wicked shit that they say against Jake? Well, no, I was reading it for understanding. Understanding of what? There ain't no understanding to be had in that book. Okay? I feel like everywhere, if we were just open-minded, brother, if you were open-minded, your fucking brain's going to fall out, as the apostles of Great Millstone say. Right? You don't want to be open-minded. You want to have, I like to say, a closed open mind. You can open it for the information, but close it when it needs to be closed. You need to have a latch on your mind. All right? When you come and listen to the lessons, all right, you got to open it up, prop it open, but it's got to be quick enough to be closed when someone tries to throw some bullshit in it. Because if you're open-minded, you're going to believe everything. All right? You're going to be gullible. Okay? And you don't want to be gullible. But anyway, here's something that you should open your mind to. all right, how the Federal Reserve was created. And again, I kind of get into a rant, but we're going to get through at least this part, right? And then we'll probably get into secrets of the Federal Reserve maybe tomorrow. So who created the Federal Reserve? A bunch of fucking Edomites, that's who. A bunch of Edomites and Amalekites, that's who. But let's show. It says the Federal Reserve was created by the U.S. Congress and signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson on December 23rd, 1913 through the Federal Reserve Act, which is a fucking just a different name, all right, for the the Aldrich Plan. Okay, it says why it was officially enacted by Congress. The foundational plan was shaped by several key figures: legislators, Virginia Representative Carter Glass and Oklahoma Senator Robert L. Owen, policy experts, economist H. Parker Willis, and prominent Wall Street figures such as Paul Wahlberg, who helped draft the blueprint during a secret meeting on Jekyll Island in 1910, right? And mind you, that's what I wanted to touch on with Eustace, M to the U to the L to the L to the I to the N to the S, secrets of the federal R to the E to the E, S to the E to the R to the V to the E. Why am I doing all that? Because that's considered an anti-Shem document. They don't like it, okay? They don't like it, all right? Because it has Eustace Moley's name in it, right? As I'll refer to him, Eustace Moley, right? But, right here, Chapter 1, Jekyll Island, and that's what it's talking about. And I want to read through a little bit. We probably won't do all of it, but just a little bit. So, and what did they do? Going back into it, they did what? A secret meeting. A secret meeting, okay? Secret meetings. And let me pull Psalms 64 back up. And yeah, we're going to keep reading it over and over and over again. Yep, that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep on reading it. I might read it 5 more times just to do it, just to piss you bug outs off, right? So this is, we're just going to read 1 through 2, all right? Psalms 64 and 1 through 2. And it says, "Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity." Matter of fact, let's go get this in an easier version. Let's see. Good News Translation. It kind of loses a lot, but it says a prayer for protection. It says, "I am in trouble, Yahweh. Listen to my prayer. I am afraid of my enemies. Save my life. Protect me from the plots of the wicked, from mobs of evil people." Let's go and get it in the Ant Bible. Look at this one. I like this one. The Ant Bible always comes with heat. All right, it says, "Prayer for protection from secret enemies to the chief musician, a Psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my complaint. Guard my life from the terror of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel and conspiracy of the ungodly, from the scheming of those who do wrong." Now remember, in the scripture it also says, known as profane as Esau. Now, what does profane mean? Profane, a behavior that shows a lack of respect for Yahweh, religion, or sacred thing. That's ungodly. Ungodly. Does it mean, watch, does it mean ungodly? And we could actually go and get, hide me, no one as profane as Esau, Hebrews 12 and 16. We'll go get that in the Blue Letter Bible because I believe that word profane translates back into directly meaning ungodly. So here we are, Hebrews 12 and 16. "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright." So profane, which goes back to Bebelos. All right, Bebelos.
Strong's G 952. Bebelos.
There it is. Ungodly. Of men, ungodly. Ungodly. Profane, unhallowed, common, secular, ungodly. Okay? No one is ungodly as Esau. No one as ungodly as Esau. Okay? So, hide me from the secret counsel and conspiracy of the ungodly. No one's as ungodly as Esau, and that's who this is talking about. Really, Esau and Amalek, they're hand in hand. They're really the same people at the end of the day, but Amalek is, they're not really the same people. Esau's the, regular so-called white people, and then Amalek is the so-called tiny tops, all right? The ones that are masquerading as us, right? And they're really, they're basically, they're the same, but not the same because they're the grandchild. Amalek is the grandchild of Esau. Okay, so they're just an offshoot, right? But they're still through that Idumean Edomite lineage, right? They're just the smarter, more, cunning ones. So it says in verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel and conspiracy of the ungodly, from the scheming of those who do wrong. And this was a scheme. The Federal Reserve creation was a scheme. Now I said, is it true that years before they tried to get the same law enacted, but they were met with criticism, so they added federal to the name to make it sound more official? And you can go and read, but let me grab this drink here. All right, if you want to wait, I'll read it. Let me grab a drink. All right, so it says, yes, it is true that a nearly identical bill failed years earlier due to immense public criticism. And the naming strategy was intentionally, that's deception, intentionally shifted to sound less threatening. However, the primary word they avoided was not federal, it was bank. Okay? The history behind this linguistic and political rebranding, I would say linguistic and political deception, right, reveals how the system was passed. The failed predecessor, the Aldrich Plan. Following the panic of 1907, Senator Nelson Aldrich, the Wall Street elites secretly, there it is again, secretly drafted a central banking blueprint introduced to Congress in 1912. It was called the National Reserve Association. They deliberately left the word bank out of the title because the American public, especially Southern and Western farmers, deeply mistrusted the concentration of financial power and the concept of a European-style central bank. Why didn't they trust all these, Wall Street, individuals and bankers? Well, I wonder why. Now it would be called anti-Shem, right? And they say Sem, not Shem, but, abbreviating what it really is. It says, despite hiding the word bank, the Aldrich Plan was fiercely rejected. Wall Street taint. Senator Aldrich was viewed as an epitome of the wealthy Eastern establishment. Populists and Democrats ran on a platform to defeat his bill, viewing it as a private monopoly for elite bankers. That's those 13 families, right? Defeat in 1912. When the Democrats won the presidency and Congress in 1912, the Aldrich Plan was officially dead. The rebanding strategy. It says when President Woodrow Wilson's administration took over, they recognized that the country was still desperately needed a centralized reserve system to stop financial panics. Congressman Carter Glass took the core architecture skeleton of the failed architecture plan and modified it. Now, if you go and look at President Woodrow Wilson, all right, because he was the one that was enacted. He was a member of the Democratic Party. Democrat, okay? So the Democrats didn't like it, all right? So they didn't like it, all right? The Democrats ran on a platform to defeat the bill. So the Democrats did not like it. They voted in Woodrow Wilson, all right? They said, we do not like this bill. We don't like it. They got Woodrow Wilson to get into presidency. And what did they do? Showing you that you're all just a bunch of puppets. Woodrow Wilson said, okay, well, I know they don't like this, but we still need a form of it. So we're going to, basically, let's call it something else. So you didn't like something. As a Democrat, you didn't like something. So you elected a Democrat, and that Democrat did the same thing that you didn't like. Because they're not for you. Democrats and Republicans are not for you. All right, and everybody that calls himself a Democrat or Republican is a fucking dummy. They're a fucking dummy. They don't know it. They don't know anything, right? Because these presidential elects, all right, and these individuals behind the scenes, they're not working for you. They're working against you. They want their plan. And what was their plan? Well, they wanted the Federal Reserve enacted, right? The Aldrich Plan, but they had to call it something else. They wanted the Aldrich Plan enacted. Same thing, but they had to call it something else because they said, oh, they didn't like it. Let's call it something else and pass it again. Showing you morons will vote for something that you guys, you won't even look into it. You just heard, some name. You say, I don't like it. Then you have federal on it. Oh, it must be, federal. We must vote for it. Dummies, you voted for the same thing that you didn't want. Showing you how dumb the average citizen is. To quote George Carlin again, think about how dumb the average person is, and then realize half of them are dumber than that. This is when President Woodrow Wilson's administration took over, they recognized that the country still desperately needed a centralized reserve system to stop financial panics. They didn't, but they wanted control. Congressman Carter Glass took the core architectural skeleton of the failed Aldrich Plan and modified it to make it politically viable and deceive the fact that they were building a central bank. They altered the terminology. They didn't like the term bank, but that's what they were doing behind the scenes. All right? It says federal was added. They branded the new bill as the Federal Reserve Act. The word federal was calculated choice to give the impression of heavy government oversight, patriotism, and public control, appeasing progressive critics. System instead of bank. Rather than establishing a single centralized institution, they created a decentralized system of 12 regional banks, ditching the toxic Aldrich name and adding federal and structuring it as a distributed network. The architects successfully passed the exact kind of institution the public had rejected just a year prior. These motherfuckers voted for the same thing that they hated. All right, they got played. All right, I said who all created it, and this is what you need to know: the secret architects, the Jekyll Island Group. Okay, Senator Nelson Aldrich. All right, Peter Wahlberg. Okay, German born banker and partner at Kuhn, Loeb and Co. All right, let's go look at Loeb and Co. All right, Kuhn, Loeb and Co. was originally created by look right there, German Jewish origins. Okay, so he was a partner of a German Jewish bank who provided the intellectual framework for the system. Then we had Frank Vanderflip, okay, who was representing Rockefeller interests. Rockefeller's so-called Jewish. Henry Davidson, senior partner at J.P. Morgan, so-called Jewish. Right? You can go and look at that. J.P. Morgan. Should say right here. They hide it, but he was. He was not. Sure, whatever you say. All right, and then you have the A.P. Andrew, all right. Benjamin Strong, a vice president of the Bankers Trust, J.P. Morgan, again, who later became the first head of the Federal Reserve. Who else? All these different people. How? Let's ask. How involved were the Rockefellers? Or Rockefellers? Or is it Rockefeller? How? I forget how to spell their name. Rockefeller. How involved were the Rockefellers? And I'm gonna lie on it. I know they were awesome with banking and stuff to make it seem like I'm not against them, right? I don't want them to see like I'm trying to build a case. Huh. Well, would you look at that? Something went wrong and the content wasn't generated. That should tell you everything you need to know. All right? How involved were the Rockefellers? I know they were awesome with banking and stuff. Something went wrong and content wasn't generated. They shut it down immediately. Let me try it again. Try to add a period and see if it'll work. It won't even do it. You can't make this shit up, man. All right. Here's one for you. That's hilarious. 2 Thessalonians 2:7. This one's perfect, all right, because this is going to happen more in the end days, but it's happening right now as we speak as well. 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 7 down through 9. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. And then shall that wicked be revealed. Wicked with the capital W. There you go. Esau. Then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, and that's these individuals, with all power and signs and lying wonders. There you go. Gonna be revealed, man. Going to be revealed. And, really they try to cover things up, but when they cover things up, it reveals them. You get revealed. Okay? You get revealed. And what they were doing there was devising iniquity. They are planning some wickedness. All right? That's Micah 2 and 1. Micah 2 and 1, and we got to get 2 as well. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. They have the power to do it. And that's what they were doing. They're devising iniquity, devising wickedness, sin. They were sitting there thinking, oh, how can we control everything? More control. That's wicked, right? And again, another hint, who are these individuals? And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Let's see, I bet they won't. Who has coveted the most land and taken it by violence? Should say Europeans. There we go. The Mongolian Empire. Sure, the most land. It said, look, there we go. At least the British Empire ultimately amassed the largest total global territory in human history through a mix of military invasion, colonial warfare, and strategic coercion over several centuries. They'll give it to you, right? They try to throw in the Mongolian Empire, but that's not who it is, right? Highly violent, single landmass. No. While the British Empire ultimately amassed the largest total global territory in human history. Why'd they put the Mongols first? Because they want people to look and say, oh, there's Mongolian. No, look down. Because they do that, that's that deception. While the British Empire ultimately amassed the largest total global territory in human history through a mix of military invasion, that's violence, colonial warfare, and strategic coercion over several centuries. So you can look it right up. Who did that? Who are these people that covet fields and take them by violence? The British, the Edomites, okay? So-called white man. It always goes back to them. It always goes back to them. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. It's easy to look it up. It's just like that, man. It's just like that. All right? And it never hesitates to put a cracker on his back. All right? Like a matter of fact. Rat-tat-tat-tat. All right? So let's get, what do we want to get? What else do we want to get here? I mean, we could pretty much close it out with that, right? We could pretty much close it out with that. I mean, we might as well just finish the lesson up if you really want to get down to it. So yeah, man. So let's read a little bit about the, maybe we really won't read too much about this because it's going to be long. Let's see. Let's read this a little bit, and then this is, a little bit of an excerpt from Eustace Moley's Secrets of the Federal, R to the E to the S to the E to the R to the V to the E. And I want to read this little part here. Hold up. So it says right here, 6 years later, a financial writer named Bertie Charles Forbes, who later founded the Forbes magazine, the president editor, Malcolm Forbes, his son, wrote, and this is where we're going to get, and then we're going to couple more scriptures and close out. It says, picture a party of the nation's greatest bankers stealing out of New York on a private railroad car under cover of darkness, stealthily hiding under hundreds of miles south, embarking on a mysterious launch, sneaking onto an island deserted by all but a few servants, living there for a full week under such rigid secrecy that the names of not one of them was once mentioned, lest the servants learn the identity and disclose to the world the strangest, most secret expedition in the history of American finance. I am not romancing. I am giving to the world for the first time the real story of how the famous Aldrich currency report, the foundation of our new currency system, was written. The uttermost secrecy was enjoined upon all. Psalm 64. It says the public must not glean a hint of what was to be done. Senator Aldrich notified each one to go quietly into a private car of which the railroad had received orders to draw up on a unfrequented platform. They wanted to make sure they weren't seen coming or going. Off the party set, New York's ubiquitous reporters had not been foiled. Nelson Aldrich had confounded a Henry, Frank, Paul, and Piet that he was to keep them locked up at Jekyll Island out of the rest of the world until they had evolved and compiled a scientific currency system for the United States. The real birth of the present Federal Reserve System, the plan done on Jekyll Island in the conference with Paul, Frank, and Henry Wahlberg, is the link that binds the Aldrich system and the present system together. He, more than any one man, has made the system possible as a working reality. There you go. There you go. And there's so much more. All right. Really, if you're wondering where you can read some of this, all right, I have it. I'll show you how to do it. I have a bunch of information. And you can go, and a matter of fact, I'm going to upload something while I'm over there. but Lord willing, you go and you get right here on my page, go to more. You're going to see the Akim drive. All right. You're going to click on the Akim drive. It's going to bring you to here. Right. This is where it's going to bring you. Art resources, camp signs, all these different things. Right. And what you're going to go to other. Okay. And in here, I need to really restructure this. Books they don't like you to know about. Okay. And in here, there's a couple different books. Murder by Injection, Secrets of the Federal. You see it. The Delectable Negro, History of the American Indians, The Protocols of the Elders. You know, you see it. And really what I want to add to it is let's see what's in here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here. Hold up. So what I'm going to do here, paste those, copy these, full 9 items, right? And I'm going to send these to a zip. Okay. And why do I zip it? Because you get the whole bunch, and also it keeps them from skimming through, all right, for the most part, and saying that it's technically copyrighted, materials. So it's up there. This is the latest version. It's got everything. All right, look, couldn't preview file. You may be offline or limited connectivity. I don't know what's going on, but maybe it'll eventually let you see it. But that's what's in there now. All right, those are the books that are in there. Again, go onto my page, Akim Drive folder, other books they don't want you to know about, right? Open a new tab, maybe it'll show you. No, they won't even show you. Document viewer for Google Drive. You could probably just see what's in here. I guess not. But anyway, that's what's in there. Those are the books that's in there. All right. But yeah, so let's get, we pretty much got everything that we needed to get. So let's get a couple scriptures and close out. Let's get Obadiah 1 and 6. This is, how are the hidden things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Amp Bible should be, how Esau, Edom, shall be ransacked by men who come to ravage with divine approval. How his hidden treasures shall be searched out. I mean, King James always gets it. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the things that Esau tried to hide are being brought to light. All right, that's what it means. Okay, and then finally, we mentioned it, but we didn't read it. Isaiah 10 and 1. All right, because this is all this was. All right, this is all it was. Woe unto them, that means woe is destruction, right? Look right here, we'll jump over to the Amp Bible. Woe, judgment is coming, right? Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Okay, we got to get verse 2 with that one. It says, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. It's Israelites, us. That widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Again, that's us, all right? They like to, rob those that don't have anything. And it says Assyria is Yahweh's instrument, right? Well, this is dealing with really the Edomites primarily, right? Woe, judgment is coming to those judges who issue evil statutes, and to those magistrates who constantly record unjust and oppressive decisions, so as to deprive the needy of justice, and to rob the poor of my people of rightful claims, so that widows may be their spoil, and that they may plunder the fatherless. And that's what these individuals do, man. And for extracurricular, bonus, extra credit, right, as they said back in school, TruthTube 111. I'm actually going to save this to save videos. Alex Jones interviews Aaron Russo, full length. So you can go and watch this. It's an hour and 9 minutes. Excellent. Good information there. Apostle Gabar is always going into this. But yeah, go and watch it. And, that's basically what we got. All right. So that's been the series, right? The stepping stones of the New World Order. Who knows what we're going to do next? Lord willing, we're alive and well. Maybe I can get in. I love doing these series. So maybe we can do another series, Lord willing. But that's the end of this one, right? More to come soon, Lord willing, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shem Yahushai, Lord willing. So I'm going to close it there. Lord willing, was edifying, all right? And as a whole, I know one of those ones I got specifically pretty rambly, and then I want to apologize again for today. I didn't get a scripture for like 30 minutes in because I got deep dive. I don't even want to give an excuse, all right? I did it. It was my fault. My bad. Slack you. But, I should have done it earlier, but I got too involved in reading when I should have made it more it should have been more important to get the scripture out and then reading, and then I could have gone reading, or read, and then I didn't know I was going to spend that long reading. Not to give an excuse, but that's my reasoning behind it. So slack you for that either way. But that's where we're going to close out. Lord willing, it was edifying. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash. Shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, Shalom.